Your money tonight and what's happening with new and used cars. Many new cars being sold before they even reach the lot, and used car prices soaring up to 45%. Here's ABC's Ariel Reshef.
The car you were saving for just got banned. Starting in 2026, a wave of bans will wipe 10 car brands off U.S. roads. Not for breaking laws, not for failing safety tests, but for reasons you were never told. So who made the decision? Why were affordable cars the first to go? And what's left when your only options are the ones you never asked for? Stick around, because this wasn't just a ban. It was a warning. Changan! Before you even had the chance to pronounce its name right, this automaker was already shown the exit door. Changan, one of the largest and fastest-growing Chinese automobile manufacturers, has officially been banned from entering the United States market starting in the year 2026. While many Americans may not be familiar with this name, globally, Changan sold over 2 million vehicles in the year 2023 alone, dominating markets in Asia, the Middle East, and parts of South America. They are known for producing aggressively priced sedans, compact crossovers, and increasingly advanced electric vehicles. But it is not the quality or reliability of the cars that is keeping them out. It is politics. With tensions between Washington and Beijing escalating and new import regulations targeting national security, the United States government has enforced a ban that effectively locks out Changan and several of its Chinese peers. At the core of the controversy lies data privacy concerns, government subsidies, and fears of economic dependency. American lawmakers have cited risks surrounding connected vehicle software potentially communicating with foreign servers, an unacceptable threat in an era when cars are rolling data centers. Changan's flagship sedan, the Audi Plus, priced under $15,000 overseas, was positioned to disrupt the affordable car market in the United States, especially at a time when the average new car price in America is nearing $48,000. For young buyers, working-class families, and budget-minded drivers, this could have been a game-changer. But now, that low-cost dream car will remain just that, a dream. The ban not only stops a competitive brand from entering, but also sends a message. Affordability takes a backseat to national control. While Americans grapple with limited options under $20,000, the government is choosing caution over cost. So as Changan packs its bags without ever unpacking them in the first place, one thing becomes clear. The open road isn't open to everyone. And if that surprise stung, just wait until the next name reminds you that even affordability isn't enough to earn a place on American roads. Mitsubishi. They came, they conquered, and now they are quietly disappearing. Mitsubishi, once a symbol of thrifty reliability and street-tuned performance, will be officially banned from the United States market starting in the year 2026. This decision, while not entirely unexpected, still marks the end of an era for a brand that played a crucial role in affordable mobility for the working American man. Back in the 1990s and early 2000s, Mitsubishi found favor with budget-conscious buyers and tuners alike. From the rally-bred Lancer Evolution to the humble Mirage hatchback, the company offered a variety of models that punched above their price tags. However, in recent years, Mitsubishi has struggled to find its footing. With declining innovation, dated platforms, and thinning dealer networks, its position in the American market became more fragile with each passing year. The final blow comes from a combination of shifting federal emissions regulations, collapsing consumer interest, and strategic repositioning by its parent company. As larger players consolidate power and prioritize electrification, Mitsubishi's budget. First, gasoline-focused lineup simply no longer fits. The company's attempt to maintain ultra-low pricing in a market demanding high-tech safety features, connectivity, and efficiency put it at odds with evolving federal standards. That mismatch ultimately sealed its fate. Ironically, the Mirage, one of the last new cars in America priced under $20,000, became symbolic of the brand's struggle. Though not a thrilling ride by any means, it offered dependable transportation for less than many used cars on the market. Now, even that lifeline is being severed, leaving behind fewer options for young drivers, low-income households, and frugal commuters. The ban will likely go unnoticed by some, but for others, it is the loss of a reliable friend that never asked for much. As the country phases out smaller, budget-friendly nameplates in favor of high-margin electric utility vehicles, Mitsubishi's absence will be a noticeable void for the everyman. But if you think Mitsubishi's fall was inevitable due to outdated products, wait until you see who is next. As the mirage fades from memory, brace yourself. The following brand was supposed to make a comeback, not vanish before it ever began. If you've made it this far, you clearly care about where the road is heading. So hit that like button if one of these brands surprised you, and drop a comment below telling us which banned car you'll miss most. Your story matters, and we're reading every reply. Let's see which name hits the hardest. Peugeot. Not every comeback story ends in triumph. Peugeot, the French automaker with a legacy dating back to the 1880s, had been plotting a return to the United States for over a decade. After officially leaving American soil in 1991, hopes were high that the Lion-branded company would re-enter with modern styling, competitive pricing, and electrified innovation. However, in the year 2026, those hopes are crushed, as Peugeot is now officially banned from launching or selling vehicles in the United States market. It is a stunning end to a return that never even had a beginning. Peugeot's parent company, Stellantis, formed from the merger of Fiat Chrysler Automobiles and the Peugeot SA Group, had big plans. With platforms already developed for Europe and Latin America, Peugeot's entry into the United States was positioned as a bold, cost-effective strategy. Test models were evaluated, American regulatory compliance teams were assembled, and marketing concepts were floated as recently as 2021. But geopolitical tensions, tariff increases, and concerns over compliance with new cybersecurity rules slammed the door shut. What makes this ban particularly painful is that Peugeot's recent vehicles, like the 3108 and the 5108 crossovers, offered sharp design, spacious interiors, and plug-in hybrid drivetrains that could have competed well in the US compact and mid-size segments. With starting prices below $30,000 in European markets, they would have appealed to American buyers who want style and utility without the luxury markup. Sadly, that scenario will remain a hypothetical. There's also an emotional layer. For older American drivers who remember the quirky charm of Peugeot's past models, the 54.4 or the 55.5, it's a moment of nostalgia turned bitter. A promise to restore heritage and bring French craftsmanship back to the US has now become another victim of global instability and market protectionism. So Peugeot's American dream ends before it ever rolled off a US dealer lot, and as it exits stage left without ever entering, another more familiar name is making its own quiet retreat. Peugeot's missed opportunity is one thing, but the upcoming departure hits much closer to home and much deeper in tradition. Volvo. Sometimes, even the quietest voices leave the deepest silence when they go. Volvo, the Swedish icon of safety, restraint, and minimalist elegance, is officially ending its passenger car sales in the United States beginning in the year 2026. The decision comes not because of poor performance or fading brand recognition, but due to a calculated shift in corporate strategy, trade complications, and diverging consumer priorities between continents. The result? One of the most dependable, respected, and subtly luxurious names in automotive history is walking away from American asphalt. For decades, Volvo has been the brand for discerning drivers who valued safety over flash and longevity over hype. From the iconic 240 wagon in the 1980s to the recent S90 and XC90, Volvo's design language remained honest and confident. In an era of aggressive grilles and touchscreen overload, Volvo stood firm with Scandinavian sensibility and a driver-first approach. Their commitment to safety innovations led the industry, including the invention of the three-point seatbelt in 1959 and the consistent top safety picks awarded to their newer vehicles by independent safety organizations. Yet, despite the accolades, the business realities have shifted. With rising tariffs on European imports, slow electric vehicle adoption in the United States, and tightening emissions regulations, Volvo has opted to pull its sedan and wagon lineup from American showrooms. While its electric sport utility vehicles may linger under separate branding or licensing arrangements, traditional Volvo cars as Americans have known them will no longer be sold starting in 2026. The brand's global headquarters has announced that production will continue for European and select Asian markets, where demand for premium sedans remains steady. That split decision is a signal. The automotive world is fragmenting, and companies are now tailoring their portfolios region by region. In other words, what thrives in Stockholm may no longer survive in Seattle. So as Volvo turns the ignition off in the land of freeways and fast lanes, the silence it leaves behind speaks volumes. Say farewell to restraint and refinement, because what comes next isn't just practical, it's personal. Nissan. This one isn't just another departure, it's a collapse of a legacy built in American driveways for over 5 decades. Nissan, once considered one of the cornerstones of practical car ownership in the United States, is set to withdraw the majority of its traditional sedan lineup from American markets by the year 2026. While the brand itself may not be banned in name, its most recognized, affordable, and accessible models, like the Versa and the Altima, will no longer be available, effectively sidelining the automaker from what was once its strongest battleground. In the 1980s and 1990s, Nissan was everywhere. The Sentra, the Maxima, and the Pathfinder became household names. Nissan stood for dependable engineering, fair pricing, and just enough style to keep things interesting. These were cars that offered working-class Americans a sense of upward mobility without breaking the bank. But the writing has been on the wall for years now, as the company gradually shifted focus toward crossovers and overseas investments, while its sedan offerings aged and fell behind competitors in tech, refinement, and performance. Now, with American car buyers rapidly shifting toward sport utility vehicles and electric drivetrains, and with Nissan lagging behind on both fronts, the decision has been made to retire most of their gasoline-powered sedans. The company has also faced internal turbulence, high-level leadership changes, and shrinking dealer satisfaction across the board. These issues only accelerated what now feels inevitable: the slow, quiet death of Nissan's sedan empire in the United States. The loss is more than mechanical, it's generational. For many Americans, a Nissan was their very first car, the one they learned to drive in, the one they took to college, the one they drove to their first job. Saying goodbye to Nissan's core offerings is like losing a dependable friend who's always been around. The badge may remain on a few crossover hoods, but the soul of the brand is pulling out of the lot for good. And as Nissan's relevance fades like taillights in the distance, the next brand on our list had every advantage: cutting-edge design, aggressive engineering, and international momentum. With that legacy dissolving into history, get ready for a nameplate that stood for prestige, status, and American-made success: Cadillac. From the high-rise streets of Detroit to the wide-open highways of Texas, Cadillac once defined what it meant to drive with pride, power, and presence. But by the year 2026, the brand's internal combustion legacy in the United States will be all but erased. While the Cadillac name is not disappearing entirely, its gasoline-powered sport utility vehicles, including the XT4, XT5, and XT6, are being systematically phased out. This move marks the end of an era, signaling a clean break from its iconic roots and a full-speed shift into electrification. Once known as the standard of the world, Cadillac built its reputation through bold American luxury. For generations, it was the car your father dreamed of owning and the one your grandfather saved up for. From tail fins in the 1950s to the commanding Escalade of the early 2000s, Cadillac symbolized success. Yet in a matter of months, that history will be relegated to collectors' garages and memory lanes. General Motors, Cadillac's parent company, has committed fully to an electric future, announcing plans to make Cadillac a battery-electric-only brand. That means no more gasoline engines, no more V6 or V8 roars, and no more internal combustion Cadillacs rolling off the assembly lines after 2026. The future will be electric, and every traditional model you see today will either be gone or reborn under a new electric architecture. The brand's electric replacements, such as the Lyric and the upcoming Celestiq, promise cutting-edge design and luxury innovation. But make no mistake, those aren't evolutions. They're reinventions. What made Cadillac feel grounded in American culture, its sound, its weight, its ride, is being replaced with silence and software. For longtime Cadillac loyalists, it's a transformation that feels more like a farewell than a future. As showrooms begin clearing out their final stock of internal combustion Cadillacs, there's one last chance to grab a piece of what once was. But don't take too long. When it's gone, it's gone. As Cadillac rewires its identity, a louder, brasher icon is about to burn out in a blaze of unfiltered American muscle. Dodge. Roaring engines, smoking tires, aggressive stares from behind wide grills. Dodge didn't just sell cars, it sold attitude. But by the year 2026, that roar is being silenced. Dodge, the American muscle brand known for bringing raw horsepower to the masses, is phasing out its internal combustion models and will no longer be allowed to sell its gasoline-powered muscle cars in the United States due to sweeping emissions regulations and manufacturer transition plans. The Charger, the Challenger, and every other Hemi-powered monster under the badge are getting benched permanently. This isn't just a brand pivot. It's the end of one of the most visceral chapters in American automotive history. From the late 1960s through the 2010s, Dodge was the go-to for unfiltered performance. It gave everyday Americans the chance to drive something loud, fast, and unapologetically bold. Whether you were rolling in a 6.4-liter V8 or a supercharged Hellcat that could pump out over 700 horsepower, Dodge offered muscle without compromise. Yet compromise is exactly what came knocking. With rising federal emission standards, aggressive climate policies, and automakers rushing to electrify their fleets, Dodge found itself caught between its rebel image and the regulatory road ahead. The final decision to cancel production of its gas-powered lineup by 2026 wasn't made lightly, but it was made permanently. The electric replacements are coming, starting with models like the Charger Daytona SRT concept. These will feature electric motors, simulated engine sounds, and a design language that pays homage to the brand's muscle past. But for many purists, it will never be the same. And so, the thunder fades. No more V8s shaking windows at red lights. No more quarter-mile runs echoing down suburban streets. No more growling exhaust notes announcing your arrival. For those who lived through the Dodge muscle era, this loss feels personal. As Dodge exits the combustion battlefield it once ruled, there's one clear message. The war on gas is now claiming its most iconic fighters. But if you thought Dodge's exit was loud, wait until you hear who's pulling the plug next. From burnout smoke to silence, buckle up, because the following exit trades horsepower for precision and emotion for algorithms. Audi. Precision engineering, refined interiors, and a legacy built on quattro all-wheel drive dominance. Audi has long stood as a symbol of German excellence on American roads. But beginning in the year 2026, Audi's gasoline-powered lineup will officially be banned from sale in the United States, marking the end of an era for one of the most technologically respected luxury brands in modern automotive history. While the name will continue under an electric vehicle banner, the classic combustion-powered Audis, models like the A4, A6, Q5, and S-Line performance variants, will disappear from American showrooms entirely. What sets Audi apart is how seamlessly it blended performance with elegance. In the 1990s and early 2000s, models like the B5 Generation A4 and the first generation TT redefined what compact luxury could be. By the 2010s, Audi was a force, balancing understated styling with advanced technology like virtual cockpits, adaptive suspension systems, and laser headlights. For drivers who craved quiet authority over flash and drama, Audi was the gentleman's weapon of choice. However, behind the scenes, Audi's parent company, Volkswagen Group, has charted an aggressive path toward full electrification. Combined with the United States' tightening emission standards and regulatory incentives for electric adoption, Audi's internal combustion engine models have been designated for phase-out. The last gasoline-powered Audi to be sold new in the US will roll off dealer lots before the end of 2026, replaced entirely by battery electric vehicles based on the e-tron platform and beyond. That transition may seem logical on paper, but for longtime enthusiasts, it represents a seismic loss. The unmistakable whir of a turbocharged four-cylinder, the growl of a naturally aspirated V6, or the deep rumble of an RS-tuned V8. These will become relics of the past. Audi's next chapter may be silent, but the end of this one deserves to be heard. As the brand trades octane for kilowatts, one question remains. Will precision alone be enough to hold loyalty when the passion has been unplugged? Audi may have refined the art of driving, but the next departure perfected the joy of it, right from the center of the chassis. Porsche. It balanced like no other. It handled like a dream. And now, it is driving into the sunset. By the year 2026, Porsche will officially discontinue its gasoline-powered mid-engine sports cars in the United States, ending production of the legendary 718 Boxster and Cayman models. While the Porsche brand itself will remain active in the American market through its electrified fleet, this specific chapter of purist driving, a chapter defined by balance, feedback, and raw emotion, is being closed permanently. The 718 Boxster and Cayman weren't just cars, they were spiritual machines. First introduced in the late 1990s, these two-seaters delivered unmatched control, mid-engine stability, and a driving connection that had been largely lost in modern performance cars. The Boxster brought open-top roadster excitement to Porsche's core, while the Cayman offered a fixed-roof version that became a favorite for enthusiasts and track day purists alike. Whether equipped with a flat 4 or the coveted naturally aspirated flat 6, these cars delivered a symphony of sound and a razor-sharp ride. But none of that could stop the future from arriving. Porsche has announced that starting in the year 2026, all new versions of the Boxster and Cayman will transition exclusively to electric powertrains. Internal combustion models will no longer be produced or imported for the US market due to global emissions regulations and corporate carbon-neutral goals. The sound of the engine behind your head? Gone. The 6-speed manual gearbox that let you feel every shift? Gone. And perhaps most importantly, the analog soul that made these cars special? That too is fading fast. For the brand that coined the phrase, there is no substitute, it seems even the irreplaceable can be replaced. The upcoming electric versions promise instant torque and innovative handling systems, but for many, the emotional connection may not carry over. Collectors are already scrambling to secure the final combustion-powered model years, expecting them to rise in value as icons of a dying breed. So as Porsche rewrites its playbook, it leaves behind more than just engine notes and gear changes. It leaves behind a feeling. That loss cuts deep, but it's the final name that rewrites the rules entirely, where politics, not performance, wrote the ban. We're down to the final name, and if this list caught you off guard, trust me, there's more coming. Brands, models, entire legacies are vanishing fast, so if you want to stay ahead of the shift, hit that subscribe button right now. Don't get blindsided by what's next. Get prepared, get informed, and stay in the driver's seat. Lada? It was never about luxury. It was never about speed. But it was always unmistakably Lada. Now, by the year 2026, Lada will be officially and permanently banned from entering or selling vehicles within the United States market. While this Russian automaker never had a substantial American presence, its story is one that reveals just how far politics and global tensions can reach, right down to the vehicles allowed on our roads. This is not just a regulatory move, it is a geopolitical red line. Lada, established in the late 1960s by Avtovaz under the Soviet regime, became an icon of durable, utilitarian design. With models like the Niva and the Riva, Lada produced vehicles that could survive brutal winters, unpaved roads, and years of hard use, all at a price point that prioritized function over form. While most Americans only ever saw these vehicles in photos or films, Lada was a giant in Russia and many Eastern European nations. At its peak in the late 1980s, it was producing over 600,000 units annually, making it one of the largest automakers in Europe. In the past, there were scattered attempts to bring Lada to the United States, particularly in the late 70s and early 80s. A few units even made it through import loopholes, but widespread distribution never materialized. That door, already mostly closed, is now welded shut. The ban, enforced under tightening sanctions and international trade restrictions, prohibits all new Lada vehicle sales or imports on U.S. soil. The rationale? National security, parts traceability, and diplomatic alignment amid worsening international relations. This move makes Lada the first automaker to be explicitly banned from the United States, not for environmental reasons or market failure, but for its country of origin. No matter how rugged, how affordable, or how available its vehicles might be abroad, they will no longer touch American pavement. So as we reach the end of this countdown, Lada serves as the ultimate reminder. In today's world, car brands are more than just machines. They are symbols. And sometimes, what they represent off the road matters more than what they deliver on it. The bans are real. The roads are changing. 10 car brands gone. Some were legends, others were lifelines. All of them erased from the roads we thought we knew. If this video opened your eyes, don't just scroll past. Subscribe for more no-fluff updates on the future of driving. Like if one of these names meant something to you, and comment to tell us what you'd miss most. These changes aren't coming. They're already here. And if you're not watching closely, your car, your wallet, or your freedom to choose might be next. Stay informed, stay ahead, and we'll see you in the next ride.